Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. I'm glad you're here this morning. Got our Christmas decorations all set up, and we're in the spirit of the season of Christmas, and we'll be talking about that more next week. But this morning, we have a guest here, have all kind of special things we're doing. So let's get started with the weather. Brought to us by Gulf Coast Air Conditioning, Drew Pollard and his hard-working crew, taking care of our everyday comfort needs. High today, 66, low 52, but man, that wind's blowing east, northeast at about 14. Got weather, eastern end of the viewing area is going to get some strong weather. We may get some right here in the middle of the Panhandle. We just keep our eyes on the skies and see how it looks. Our river reading is brought to us by Panama City Coca-Cola. Good folks down there. Looking at the Apalachicola at Brunstown, right at 5 foot, got a little bit of drop to it. And the Choctawhatchee at Caryville this morning is reading right at a 6 foot. And it's dropping out a little bit, so we'll see how this rain will affect it, but I don't think it's going to get that far over toward the Choctawhatchee River drainage system. Tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn. Good, strong tide today. Low tide this morning at 9:36, high tide at 10:58 tonight. Let's quickly go into our fishing game times, brought to us by Blue Water Outriggers in Port St. Joe. We're looking at 12:56 to 2:56 this morning. After lunch, 1:26 to 3:26. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back with our special guest. Okay, welcome back to a familiar face here on Panhandle Outdoors, Steve Rogers.
Good morning, Coach. How you doing, sir?
Welcome back. Glad to have you. He does a lot of rod wrapping and all, but I've been talking to him, and lately he's going to share some great. So many of y'all love this history and all different parts of it. We're experts in, and Steve been here a while. How many generations of your family have been here?
Well, we can count back about 7
that's
in the area. So.
That's amazing. Up in the Washington County area and all. So we were talking, Washington County didn't have deer season till when?
The best that I can gather, talking from family members, was 1965.
Wow. Because?
First, there were no deer. Very, very few deer in Washington County. My family has deer hunted all their lives, and they had to travel to Eglinfield or down into Gulf County to do most of the deer hunting. From what I can gather from my granddad that told me years ago, and some other family members, that through the cooperation of it wasn't the FWC back then, it was Florida Wildlife, whatever.
Gulf and Fish.
Yes, game and fish. Through them, and I'm not 100% sure on this, but I think that Mr. Sam Mitchell, who used to be a state representative, was a representative just prior to all this taking place. My great-grandfather also, Buster Rogers, was an avid outdoorsman, and he was behind the scenes pushing this to get these deer put in Washington County. Unfortunately, great-grandpa got killed just about a month before deer season opened in Washington County. He never got to hunt deer in his home county.
I would all go.
But that was, and I can remember as a child when we were running deer dogs there, we did not have that many deer. A good season for us with our hunting party running dogs, we might kill 8 deer. That would be it. It was tough.
Well, you got some pictures here. Let's show this first picture here. Check out this is right here.
This gentleman here is that's my great grandfather. That's Daniel Allen Rogers. He was better known as Buster. That was one of his birthdays there when he got a lot of hats. He's well known there in the county. And,
that's cool. And then let's see.
That was that's Boy Finch. That is my grandmother, Myrtle Rogers. That is her grandfather.
Wow.
So that would make him, I think, my great-great-granddad.
Catching bass.
So you can see I come from a long line of fishermen.
You do come from a long line of successful fishermen. That was a big bass back then.
Yes, sir.
They come out of one of the sandhill ponds?
I'm sure it did. Yes, I'm sure it did.
Okay.
We were on vacation up in in Tennessee, there in Cage Cove, just riding around, and I took some photographs of different things and took the picture of this old church, and did not realize until I got back home and developed the film that sunburst was on it, and I thought,
How cool.
man, that is just so beautiful there.
That is awesome. Those old churches are so well built.
Yes, sir. This one is from 1958.
Whoa.
We did not really have, now, my guess is that bear come out of Gulf County.
Mm-hmm.
From the left, standing in the background, is my Uncle Will Rogers. That's my grandfather in front of him, Clark Rogers. The gentleman next to him, this is starting left to right.
Yeah.
Then the next gentleman, I'm not sure who that is, but I believe that's Joe Shirley Carter. And then the far right is John Elmer Carter. They were lifelong friends of the family.
Well, you know, they had a time with that bear, you know. And was that the Carter track folks, the Carter people up in that area?
You know, I'm not sure if Mr. John Elmer was kin to Mr. Fitzhugh or not.
Mr. Fitzhugh Carter?
I really don't know.
Yeah.
I would think so in some way.
Probably cousins or something.
May have been.
What about this big buck right here? What's the story on it?
That's my granddaddy.
Oh, cool.
When he killed that deer, he was 92 years old.
Wow.
He killed his last one when he was 94, I believe it was.
Awesome.
And then he passed away at 100 years old. So.
That's awesome.
But he dearly loved to hunt.
Okay, well,
This is my second passion right here.
Okay.
I love to eat. This was Thanksgiving morning. We'd gone up in Alabama to visit my wife's folks, and I carried me some oysters with me, and I started about 9 o'clock that morning eating oysters.
Well, that's funny. You know, we're talking about going up to Alabama. A lot of us go up there. There's nothing like taking those folks up there some seafood and
That's right.
oysters and shrimp or some fresh mullet. They absolutely love it.
Well, I was a little disappointed. I thought that they would join me, but they did not.
Most of the time.
But that was okay too. I didn't have to chuck any oysters for them. I had them to myself. So.
We were just talking. We had some this week. I had some at Real Time, and I had some oysters and some fresh fried mullet. And we had with Bob and Sarah Thomas, and went over there and had a great meal. So this time of year, it seems like that mullet tastes better and the oysters taste better.
It does.
Don't it? Seriously.
Yep. My dad and I went yesterday and had some good mullet there at Real Time.
At Real Time, okay.
It was very good. Very good.
That's cool. That's cool. Okay, let's take a quick break. We'll come back with Steve. Okay, welcome back. Before we get back, I've got an announcement now to make. Go ahead. We have a big bass tournament tomorrow. Bobby Smith's wife, Sarah, sent this to me, and Alan Courtney putting this on. This is, okay, to all interested bass fishermen, there will be an open bass tournament on Deer Point Lake at a High Point Boat Landing this Saturday, that's tomorrow, from safe daylight until 2 p.m. Central Time. Entry fee $100 per boat, and that includes a big fish pot. Payback is 1 to 5 boats plus first and second. So at High Point Boat Landing, so that's sort of put together last minute, but we got the word out, and y'all get up there and enjoy that. And try, we beat the weather. Should be a good time to go fishing. Mm-hmm. All right. So we were talking. One thing we're talking about eating all this good food this time of year, and it's been a lot of. I have this picture right here. Does this not look like something good to eat tonight? I mean, that looks good.
That was. After we got back from Alabama, some of the oysters left. I shucked a couple of dozen out and fried them up. Pulled a few shrimp that I had in the freezer out, and a few bass that I'd caught.
You had what they call a seafood buffet.
Yes, sir. It was very good.
All right.
Very good.
Well, your camping trip here.
That was my wife's birthday was in November, and she celebrates the whole month. So
that's good.
We with some friends of ours and our son and his family went out to St. Andrews State Park and camped for about 4 days, and it was just beautiful weather the whole time we were there.
Oh, that's great.
That's my son and one of my grandsons, his youngest son, Logan, and that doe came up behind our campsite every day.
Uh-huh.
And they were just trying to see just how close they could get to her. And they got within about 10 feet of her.
St. Andrews State Park is coming back really strong now.
It is.
Area right there, rocks and everything, and real comfortable.
It's beautiful, and they're very protective of it right now. They will come slap your wrist if you don't do just what they say.
I understand that. I mean, I've heard that.
I understand why they do it, though.
Well, okay, we got Christmas coming up. You got a lot of things going on.
Well, not really. We've got all our decorations up, all that we're going to do.
Yeah.
And just waiting for the day to be here.
What about, how's your rod wrapping coming?
We're doing good. I stay busy with it. I've got, matter of fact, one in the truck that I'm delivering this morning. Also, I've got one finished at home and the second one that I'm starting on, and I should have it finished up in about a week. And I'm gonna dog it off until after the holiday on that. So
take a break.
Take a break.
Take a break and all.
Start back in the first.
Yeah. You going to hunt or fish during the holidays?
Yes.
That's the answer you're supposed to give.
I'm gonna try and do both. I am. The older I get, I still love to hunt, but the older I get, the more I love to fish. So
yeah.
I will probably try and fish as much as I can.
What kind are you gonna be doing?
I'll be bass fishing.
Bass fishing.
May try and do a little catfishing.
Yeah.
But I enjoy it. So.
Yeah. What's your plans next year? Now 2024 is right around the corner. You got a big camping trip planned or anything?
Yes, sir. We're working on one now. It will be up in the northeastern part. We're going to go up towards Ohio again. We were there earlier this year. Mm-hmm. We want to go back and then come back down the East Coast. Spend a couple of weeks or so doing that.
That sounds good. Just take off and go.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll all come together. So.
I'm talking about rod wrapping. How hard is it? I would encourage to my students again. We didn't get to cover much in Outdoor Ed, but mm-hmm. Very intriguing. And some of the boys, in fact, there were several of them each year that picked it up and really went with it. And it's a special gift to do it, but it's also something you can learn how to do. How would you recommend someone getting into it, or some parent or grandparent encouraging a young person to do it? What would you tell them to do?
If they're wanting to do it to where they could, you won't make much money on it. But
not a money maker. Yeah, this is a hobby.
It's a hobby.
Yeah, playing around with it.
It's not hard to do, really not. Yeah. I know there's some classes that you can take. If anyone's interested, I can come show them some things, or they can get up with me. I can show them a few basic things. But it's not real hard to get started.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about that some
sure.
First part of next year.
Sure.
And now you brought some other stuff too. We have a Wausau. What is that right there? The Wausau?
Oh, this is just this is a book that's just got some old things in it. Back to some history now. The highway progression going up through Wausau. This was when the township of Wausau turned
1889.
100 years old.
1989. Yeah. That's cool. So a lot of black and white pictures in it.
Oh yeah. I just had it and some old photographs in it, but I went through Wausau a couple of weeks ago, and I know everything has to progress, Mm-hmm. But with the highway widening going through there, they're cutting out some true history. The old railroad bed from the old BC railroad line.
Mm-hmm. That came down into Southport.
It came down from up around
Dothan
and down to Southport.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a big train turnaround station in Southport, mm-hmm. and it would send them back. But as a boy, some of us cousins used to love to run up and down that old railroad bed and mm-hmm. see what we could find. But
a lot of history there.
Yep.
And that's how the name Southport became. It was the southern end of that railroad track. That was right. A port on the south end, and it was Southport. Originally, before it's called Southport, in the 1850s, the Anderson family settled there. The Captain Anderson family settled there, and the community, there was only a couple of families, so they called it Anderson.
I think it's right.
Yeah. And then they brought the railroad in, and they started as that got Southport. It's an interesting history.
Yeah, I used to live there in Southport, in the town of Southport, if you call it town. And my granddad had told me that where we were at, we were almost dead center of the old turnaround railroad yard. Mm-hmm.
Well, you look like so many folks came and settled down. The Anderson family came from Carolinas. So many Georgia people came down, Alabama people came down and settled in this area. And that's where we go back so many generations that tied it in. But it was interesting how the Anderson family they were fishing. And if you have my book, you can see the story in there. Right. It's really interesting how they were fishing right there in Southport.
Yeah, my family, the Rogers side of my family that we can trace back came from in North Carolina
Yep.
and came
Yep.
out. So.
Was that some of the Rogers over in West Bay and that area, or?
No, sir. That I'm aware of, we're not kin to those
Yeah.
at all.
All those, waterfront communities were just full of people who, and they couldn't shop and they had to catch a fish and shoot the game to survive.
Right. Well, I take that back on that. I don't believe I'm kin to any of those.
Well, they were all sort of tied together at one time.
But I do know that my great-grandfather, again, Buster, I know that he used to work in the fish house there when he first got married to my great-grandma. Great-grandma told me that they had, on their honeymoon was they married in Chipley, got in a wagon, horse and wagon, and rode all the way back to West Bay.
Wow.
Spent the night along the way.
Wow.
And then went to West Bay and he went to work.
In a wagon,
So that was their honeymoon.
yeah. They didn't go to Bahamas or anything.
No,
back in
sir.
those days.
No, they were close to the water though. They were in West Bay.
Yeah, it wasn't quite the same, but it was still around the world.
All right.
And all. And it was amazing. Like, get back to what you said earlier. There really were no deer in the area.
No, sir. Not many at all. I can remember many stories of my granddad telling them going to Eglin Field and hunting and going down in Gulf County. And like I said, as a boy growing up, we had deer, but they were not just plentiful as they are now.
That's right. So, but we have them now. We got had to look at the state park. They're coming up to the campus.
Wow. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, Steve, we're going to have to go. We're going to come back and do the famous Friday fishing report. I just want Steve to come in and touch base with us before the end of the year, and it's always good to visit with you guys.
Yes, sir.
Glad to have you come on.
Glad to have you. Appreciate it.
We appreciate it.
Merry Christmas. That's
right. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back, do our drawing, and do our famous Friday fishing forecast. Okay, welcome back, and welcome to our famous Friday fishing forecast, brought to us by Jessica Ling, Insurance and Financial Group and Insurance. Jessica's there in Lynn Haven, got a big group up there, and a hard-working group. And also Matt Andrews of Hammer Down Construction and Roofing. We're looking at, before we get into anything, we've got to do our drawing, okay, real quick. The drawing brought to us by Tarpon Dock. The winner of the $20 gift certificate is Robert Danduran, Robert. And the winner of the Big Red Snapper, which is good this time of year, from Weewall, Darrell Hall. So there's our winners right there. I tell you, we'll go into a lot of stuff I wrote last night for the report. The first thing I wrote on freshwater, we got a bass tournament tomorrow, don't forget. And also, the crappie bite is really, really strong. And Lake Talquin is strong up there, and also over there on the Choctawhatchee River. Taking a look at the bass fishing, it's going to be interesting to see how the tournament turns out tomorrow. But the bass fishermen, they catch a lot of bass this time of the year, so it's going to be interesting to see what's going on. I also remember Billy Grantham talked last week about the striped bass and hybrid bass in Lake Seminole. So you have Lake Talquin for the crappie, Lake Seminole for the hybrids, and so that's really good there. The big bite here in the saltwater system, and all week long I've seen pictures of sheephead. And I showed you some pictures Wednesday of some of my former boys out there catching some sheephead. So they're really good. What's the best bait for sheephead? Fiddler crab is the best bait, but you also get some peeled shrimp, anything that'll stay on the hook. And I really believe fish bites. I really believe you might could catch them with fish bites because the smell it emits out there from the fish bites. It'll be interesting if any of y'all try the fish bites to see how it's going. So it's going to be interesting to see this weekend what happens. Mullet. I wrote down mullet. I've been eating quite a bit of mullet this last month or so. It's just been really good this year. And the red roe. One of the net guys, one of the guys at the commercial fisherman, he said this year the red roe has been really, it came in late. And he said that the reason for that was because, he said basically they just stayed around longer in the bay system instead of going out into the Gulf like they normally do. We'll talk about what they normally do is, okay, I got my phone, I don't have my iPad, so I'm doing this off my phone. Okay, so anyway, what they're doing is going out. They'll go to the pass right here, okay? They head out the pass, and they go straight out, and they go, they'll get in certain depth of water, and they start making big circles. And I love hearing old timers talking about how they would see like just a big, out there, like a whirlpool, and it was a mud going round and around, thousands and thousands, and they go deeper and deeper, and the pressure would squeeze the sides of them, and the row would spill out into the water. And that's how they kept reproducing year after year, and they still do it today. And Apalachicola Bay is the same situation there. But let's go down, if you want to, okay, I wrote down surf fishing. Surf fishing going to be strong. Where's some good places to go surf fishing? I have some friends coming down, and they've asked me where to go. They're coming down from North Carolina, and I'm telling them to go to the state park. If we get, they're going to be down there around the Cape. And I told them, go after the end of the peninsula and fish off the state park water there, or St. George Island and fish off the state park. And what do we use? I'd use fish bites or peeled shrimp. And the whiting bite this time of year is strong. This is some of the best time of year to catch whiting. The water's cooled off, and they'll be out there. Look at take a look right here on the stump hole area. This used to be a prime area right here, but it's eroded so much. It's amazing how much, we talk about erosion all the time, but you can still go. On this end of the rocks, you have some beach access, but again, it's going to be tough. The bay fishing in St. Joe Bay should be really good, as will be in the Choctawhatchee. The redfish are biting good there. I've got some pictures this week to prove it. Also, with St. Andrew Bay, the trout is going to be strong. Down in Apalachicola, go to the bridge right there at East Point, the old bridge at East Point. I don't have to draw it up. Y'all know the one I'm talking about, but East Point Bridge, the sheephead and drum will be biting good off of it. So I'm about to run out of time. We've had a good week. Monday's show, I had the video from my deer hunting trip this past weekend up in Monroeville, Alabama. It was a lot of fun. We enjoyed it, and it was just a great time was had by all. So, and next week, a special guest coming in, all kind of good stuff coming up next week. And y'all get your Christmas shopping done. Don't be late like I've been. Okay, y'all do something good today for your fellow man. Enjoy the great outdoors and take care of it, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.